Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. In this discussion, we want to see some policy applications from our understanding about the labor supply theories. Before we go to the applications of the theories, the following are quick empirical findings on the income and substitution effects. First, labor supply theory suggests that the choices workers make with respect to the desired hours of work depends on these 3 points. Number 1 is the level of wealth. Number 2, the wage rate. And number 3, the leisure income preferences. The point on wealth here can be associated with our understanding about the income effect. And when we talk about wage rates, remember that whenever there is a change in the wage rate, both income effect and substitution effects will be present. And we have seen the analysis to isolate these two effects in the case of a change in the wage rate. The third point here is more about the shape of an individual's indifference curve. Some person would have a much flatter indifference curve, while others may have much steeper indifference curve. That reflects the leisure income preferences of that individual. Some empirical findings: numerous studies of the labor supply of men finds that the size of the estimated effects vary with both data and the statistical methodology. So the types of data that you use for your study, such as cross-country analysis or individual level data, as well as the methodology you employ in analyzing the data, will influence much of your results. The overall findings suggest that the substitution effects are positive while the income effects are negative. This one refers to the effect of each substitution and income effect on hours work. Substitution effects has a positive effects on work hours, while income effect in general has a negative effect on work hours. Studies also found that women generally have a greater responsiveness to wage changes than men. That means whenever there is a change in the wage rate, women are more responsive to that change than men. This is another interesting topic for research that you may consider. Moving to the application of our theories, when we talk about labor supply, policymakers are interested to know what are the incentive and disincentive of people to join the job market. This understanding are important in drafting policies related to work incentive. So here we want to see one of it that is on the applications of the theory. So here we want to use the labor supply theory to analyze the work incentive effects of various social or income maintenance programs. So let's consider one case where here we want to look at budget constraints with spikes. This is about a social insurance compensation programs, where these programs is offered to workers for work-related injuries. This is a form of income replacement program because this program would replace the earnings or incomes lost by workers due to injuries. SOCSO in Malaysia, for example, provides this type of social or income maintenance programs. This point is one of the simple rule that we set for this particular program, where we state that the compensations are paid as long as the worker is off work and disabled. Payments would cease or stop even if the worker supplies only 1 hour of labor. So this program would immediately stop wants this worker work even for 1 hour. So now we want to understand how these programs would affect the work incentives of workers. To do that, let's consider this diagram. Focus on the pre-injury budget line AB. AB is this line. This is the pre-injury budget line. And at this budget line, the worker would receive WAB, wage rate. WAB is the slope of this budget line AB with earnings given as E0. That is, at point F here, this is where the budget line AB is tangent to indifference curve UI. E0 is the earnings of this worker, the pre-injury earnings, and this worker would work for 8 hours. Another 8 hours he would spend for leisure. So that's the case before injury. Now let's say the worker involved in work-related injury and therefore entitled to receive compensation for injury. With compensation for injury, the post-injury budget constraint is given by BAC, where AC is the spike. And this spike is important for us to understand how this program affects the work incentive of this worker. Notice that this worker will be happy at point C because the compensation program would put the worker on a much higher indifference curve U2 compared to the pre-injury indifference curve. Point C is also gives the worker the same level of the pre-injury earnings E0. At point C, notice that the worker would still receive E0 earnings, but now the worker is better off because he or she has 16 hours leisure time. What we can say here is, due to this insurance compensation program, the program has created an income effect. Due to that program, the workers' reservation wage, as shown by the dashed lines here, is now more than WAB, which is the pre-injury wage rate. And this creates a slow process for this worker to return to work. In short, we can say these programs creates a disincentive for this worker to return to work. This is one common issues facing many social welfare programs. Policymakers, whenever they draft any policy, they want to make sure that that policy will not create disincentive for workers to get back to the job market. So what policymakers can do? The following are some of the suggestions. Number one, policymakers can set no work benefits at some fraction of pre-injury earnings. This is not a popular policy. Number two, policymakers also can think about to set the benefits at AG. If you refer to this diagram, AG is given by this distance. And if the insurance compensation program only provides AG level, notice that this level is only about half of the pre-injury earnings. E0 is over here and point AG is half of this E0, such as at this point. And if we set the insurance compensation program at AG level, this would make a recovered workers to think about returning to the job market quickly after he is getting well. Notice also that AG falls on U1 indifference curve, while the earlier program makes the worker better off because the worker gets to U2 indifference curve. The third solution is to set an upper limit on the weeks each unemployed worker can receive the no work benefits. In other words, the workers who are injured only entitled for the benefits to certain weeks, let's say 12 weeks. If the worker needs an extension, he may be granted such appeal based on medical or judicial board review. So this point suggests that this worker would not be entitled to receive the insurance benefits for an indefinite time period. There should be a limit to how long he or she can receive that benefits. These are some of the suggestions that we can consider in order to improve the social insurance programs. What we can see from this analysis is that in order to draft any social insurance program, that program should not create this incentive for workers to return to the job market when he or she recovers. At the same time, that welfare program should also protect the welfare of the workers, especially when the workers are injured and in need of assistance. So this is a delicate issue because when policymakers make a policy, it's a blanket policy, but when workers are injured, it's unique to each individual worker. So the overall program should take into account protection of welfare and at the same time not to create this incentive. I think that's about it for this time. See you in another one. Thank you. Wassalam.